Are you tired of hearing about social media and not knowing how to use it for your business? Or are you in need of a social media strategy beyond the basics, but can't afford to spend thousands on an expensive agency? Welcome to the SocialBuzz University. We're an online education program for business owners and professionals who see the importance of social media but don't want to spend thousands on a consultant, especially when you can do it better. For a small monthly tuition, you can take part in a social media learning program which takes you from beginner to guru. Headed by our chief educator and social media professor, Sebastian Rusk, who's an expert at building buzz and helping companies take things to the next level.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Sebastian Rusk with SocialBuzz TV. I'm also a professor over at the SocialBuzz University, and I've got a radio show on Fridays called SocialBuzz On Air that airs here in South Florida on 880 AM. You can catch it online at 880 The Biz as well. The goal of the SocialBuzz brand is to be able to educate everyone everywhere about the power of social media, to help people better understand that it's here to stay. It's not a fad. It's not just passing through. The genie's not going back in the bottle, if you will. Let me help you better understand a little bit more about who I am and what I do. It started way back in March of 2010 to just start a YouTube show to educate people about social media. Well, of course, to have a YouTube show, you've got to have video content. So I continued to create content by showing up at specific events and things that were happening in town that were buzzworthy to hopefully establish a relationship with that brand. All I wanted them to do was tell their network about SocialBuzz. Well, what happened was that continued to grow into us starting to host our own monthly events to basically network and bring the community together and, let's face it, meet people. That then turned into us doing monthly workshops here in the Miami area, social media related, of course, showing people the basics of social media. Well, of course, that then trickled into the people that were coming to our events, the people that were coming to our workshops, then said, hey, SocialBuzz obviously knows what they're talking about. Could you help us set up our social media? The funny part was when I launched this company, I had no revenue model at all. Zero. I had no revenue either. But no revenue model at all. And everyone always said, what's the revenue model? I said, there isn't any. I believe if you make enough noise, someone is going to come knock on your door, and I'm living proof of that statement now. Second thing was, in this market, coming out of a recession, things have been gnarly for the past 5 or 6 years. Let's face it. Coming out of this recession, we're doing business in a whole different realm now. It's not the fast-paced, market my product, advertise my product, point, click, and buy. It's what's your name? What do you like to do on the weekends? Help me better understand more about you. Establishing a relationship, listening, caring, reciprocating all that, and then a sale's made. It's crazy how it all works out. So I said, listen, in this market, you build the brand and then the revenue comes. Another statement that I now live by. It's funny how you speak that into existence when you're just getting started. And by the way, I was 2 weeks away from homelessness. Out of complete desperation, I reinvented myself and channeled my knowledge of social media. You know, I consider myself a pioneer being on MySpace in 2005 when saying MySpace was cool. Fast forwarding, this webinar is not about Sebastian and SocialBuzz. I just want to help you better understand why social media is here to stay and why doing webinars like this, talking about the changes that Facebook, one of the strongest, because Twitter's right there with them, social platforms to ever exist, a multi-billion-dollar enterprise is making these changes, why they're doing that and why it's important for your brand. But most importantly, how are you using your Facebook page? How should you be using it? It's not a platform for you to sell, by the way, or advertise, FYI. And that's why a lot of these changes have happened, and I'm going to get into those in just a second. Here's my e-press kit, we like to refer to it these days, or my online one sheet. Gives you a good idea of everything I've got my hands in at the moment. can better understand about the Social Buzz video work that we've done, the buzz that we create. Our radio show, you can check out some past episodes, see what we're tweeting about. In the event that you have any need for voice talent, we do offer those services as well. So these things have just, again, I didn't put a business plan together. I'm horrible at writing 35-page business plans. I just took out a Word document and I started jotting down ideas. And I found out through trial and error and getting my nose broken multiple times what works and what doesn't work. I believe there's a lot of power in that. I believe it's the entrepreneur spirit that and that fire that continues to burn that keeps you going no matter how many times you get your nose broken. Here's all of our links to stay in touch with the Social Buzz University. Everything's the same for Social Buzz TV, facebook.com/Social Buzz TV. Same thing with Twitter, and our YouTube channel is Social Buzz TV Show. My email address is srusk@socialbuzztv.com, and direct line at the office is 786-273-7875. I'm here to help. That's the good news. My main focus right now is creating buzz for brands, endorsing products, services, events, happenings, and in turn, that creates social media content for the clients that I'm working with. So I'm extremely blessed. I believe my hard work has definitely started to pay off. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but just like I told someone earlier on Twitter, I'm a heck of a lot closer than I was yesterday. So, hey, thanks again for joining us tonight. Taking time with me after hours. I know it's tough. We have lives. We have things to do, gym, supermarket, kids, meetings, etc. So for you to carve out some time tonight, I really, really appreciate it. I'm not going to take up all your time tonight. I'm a big, big Q&A guy. So I want to run some Q&A about 20 minutes, 15 minutes before we're done. So we've got a solid amount of time to answer some questions. I know there's some questions popping up and inside the question box here. I'm going to the best of my ADD ability, try and orchestrate this webinar and answer questions all at the same time. But I have those questions stored, so even if the webinar ends, I can get back to you. You can drop me an email, whatever the case may be. All right, let's get down to it. Quick picture of Zuck there introducing Facebook timeline. This webinar is more geared towards Facebook timeline for pages, because on March 30th, that's 3 days from now, 2.5 if you're really counting, those changes are going to be mandatory and they're going to take place whether you like it or not. Well, what's the downside to that? First of all, let's do a quick audio check just to make sure we're good. Let's see here. Wow, we got a long list here. Tony V's in the house. Tony V, can you hear me okay? Shoot me a quick message there on the chat window. Believe it or not, I have pulled the microphone cord out in the first 5 minutes of a webinar before. I've hit the mute button. Anything you can do to completely mangle a webinar, I've done. So I like to learn my lesson and make sure everybody can hear me loud and clear. Loud and clear, Tony says. All right, let's get started. Thanks for that, bud. So, first of all, I'm getting a lot of tweets. I'm getting a lot of feedback. I'm getting a lot of email of everybody saying, Sebastian, you know what? This new Facebook line just makes me just cringe. Well, first of all, settle down. We can't change the inevitable, friends. So what do we have to do? I just got to telling a friend this 5 minutes ago. Denitza, if you're on the webinar, high five. Thanks for tuning in. You've got to embrace these changes because they're not going anywhere. Zuckerberg and his team have more money and more power than you do. And guess what? Most importantly, they own your information. You want them to. It really helps shape your lifestyle. So what's the first thing you've got to do before we even talk about any of these changes happening on, try to move this little menu bar to the, there we go. Probably see my mouse. You're like, what is this guy doing here? First thing you got to do is you've got to be able to erase the lines in the sand. Don't be afraid of what's new and unfamiliar. One of my favorite quotes ever. Everything we want in this life is right outside our comfort zone. True story. Erase the lines in the sand. Forget about your old Facebook page. Forget about that beautiful default landing page that you had. That page is still there, but guess what? You can't make it a default page. I'm going to explain why in just a few minutes. Facebook has made these changes because Facebook brand pages are just for that. Your brand. Not to sell, not to pitch, not to have a free billboard, not to shove your message down consumers' throats, but to be able to present yourself to your prospects, consumers, community, and those that are interested in you, those that follow and subscribe to you. Guess what, friends? These are the foundation of your brand. The goal of Facebook is to provide content at an additional real-time Facebook component, customer service component to Facebook to allow you to stand out from your competition, to allow you to say, hey, listen, we get it. We're social. I'm going to go into the details. You're going to love it. A lot of people are confused. They think that the new Facebook timeline just means there's a big picture and a little picture and things are jumbled on their timeline. Friends, that's only part of it. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty and we're going to make sense of why the changes are happening. Remember, behind every B2B is a C. This isn't a business webinar, but it is a business webinar. You know why? Because you're on this webinar right now because you care about your business. And I guarantee you that within the next 36 months, Facebook will make up 75% of your brand's reputation and lead generation and marketing engine. Mark my words. This webinar will be recorded, and you can pick up this presentation later, and you can email me in 3 years and say, I told you so if I was wrong. Remember, even if you're marketing in the B2B space, and maybe you have a consumer product, maybe you don't market in the B2B space, remember, behind every B2B is a C. I learned that a long time ago in door-to-door sales 15 years ago. I'm selling consumer products, but who's inside these businesses? Consumers. Very important, just side note to remember who you're talking to when it pertains to Facebook. Doesn't matter. Remember, brands can like your page too. Brands can like other brands. Brands can communicate. Huge, huge biz dev upside to all that. Speak your customer's language. What do they want? Sebastian, why are you getting into all these details? Because this is the escalation. This is the start of how the quote, air quotes, new Facebook timeline for pages starts for your brand. It's understanding exactly what you want to convey. What do your customers want? What can you do to make and keep them happy? I'm not talking about continually giving them away free things. I'm talking about providing them with relevant content about your brand, relevant content pertaining to your industry, and then sprinkling in little things like, hey, by the way, we can help you with X, Y, Z. Again, let me re-emphasize sprinkling in, and that goes for all your social media platforms, all 954,000 of them out there. Remember, it's a good mix of everything. What can you do? Gary Vee says, I want people that are going to buy my wine for the next 80 years, not for the next 8 minutes. I got sprinter's clothes on, but I'm a marathon runner. And he made a good point when I interviewed him last year. He said, listen, and if I'm referring to Gary Vaynerchuk, write that down. V-A-Y-N-E-R-C-U-K. Vaynerchuk. Guy's my remote mentor. Wrote a book called Crush It and The Thank You Economy. Pick them up, both up tonight. Get the Audible version of Crush It. These books will change your life. They did mine. They woke me up and had me write a business plan and reinvent myself instead of contacting an attorney because I was about to get evicted. That's what those books did. And then I interviewed him a year later. Another webinar, another story. But excellent point. I want customers to buy my product for the next 80 years, not for the next 8 minutes. And that's key, especially on Facebook, because it's the first place people are going. And guess what? When people like your brand page, 98% of them don't ever come back. Why is that? I don't know. It's probably because you're shoving your message down their throat and pitching them. Push, push, push. There's no pull. Push-pull strategy, there's no pull. It's just push. Buy my book. Come to my event. Buy my product. Check this out. Not, hey, listen, what do you want? What can I do for you? You got to give them what they want. That's key. Gary made a great point when I interviewed him, too. He said, People kind of misconstrue my message because I'm an excitable, over-the-top guy like yourself, Sebastian, and people think that I'm in it for the quick buck. They think I'm in it for the there's no long term there. But I don't want them to misconstrue my message. I'm developing a flow to bring a community in. Gary tweeted for, 2 years straight just answering questions about wine before taking wine online when everyone told him he was crazy, taking his dad's liquor store in New Jersey online, saying, I'm going to sell wine online. They said, you're crazy. They were doing $3 million a year in revenue with a local storefront, brought the wine online, within 8 years grew it to $60 million. I'd say that selling wine and his strategy was effective. The new Facebook timeline, friends, it's happening in the next 3 days, whether you like it or not. I know we still got people joining us. Hey, if you're just joining us just now, better late than never. High five to everyone. My name's Sebastian Rusk. I'm that nut that's responsible for that whole social buzz thing. We like to teach people about social media. We like to create buzz about social media, and they're even crazy enough to put us on the radio once a week to chat about social media. Thanks for taking time tonight to join me and spend some time to better understand what in the world these guys are doing over at Facebook, making yet another change. The change is here to improve your brand. Whether you want to admit it or not, the last time they made a change to Facebook pertaining to brands, everyone bellyached for a month about it, but what did they do? Keyword, they embraced it. And once you embrace something and realize that, what is the great quote from Gandhi? Acceptance is the end of all suffering. That really can come into play here with all the Facebook changes. Let's get down to the nitty on why it rocks for your brand. First of all, there's a new enhanced admin panel. I love this. You know why? Managing social media brands, having numerous in front of me on a daily basis and having to create that flow and focus. It was very difficult with Facebook before because you always had to search for whether or not someone was contacting you or liking something you said or complaining, most importantly. And that was never available. There was no way for the customer, other than to comment on your wall and pretty much put you on blast. There was no way to privately contact you, whether it was a business development inquiry, a sales inquiry, technical support, customer support, a problem, they were mad. There was no way to do that other than to just post it on your wall. Facebook's new admin panel, and you can see a screenshot right here of it, allows you right here to see your notifications. There's a private message box here. This is just so ridiculously money, it's not even funny. Hey, that rhymes. Why is this money, Sebastian? Because it's a customer service tool. Your customers can contact you about customer service, product, sales, marketing, business development, technical support, whatever they need, they can contact you on a personal level, privately. The cool part that I really think is cool, some of you may disagree, we can't email them first, though. They can email us, and we can respond. Of course, you can respond, and I guess you could throw in an offer in there if you're that aggressive. I don't recommend it because it's a completely different conversation platform that you're on. But, this is huge for customer service. Someone has a problem, they can message you on Facebook. What does this mean? It means you need somebody on your Facebook and Twitter 24/7. So if somebody says your brand sucks, you have the opportunity to play defense. You have the opportunity to apologize and make an honest effort to make that right. That's huge. Right here on the bottom left, new likes, see me circling, insights, and then page tips. They'll give you all kinds of tips you can do. Insights are the tracking that you can look at. How many people liked your page, what posts they like, who shared it, where they went, age, demographics, where they're located. Again, friends, like I always like to say, the data's there. Analyze the data. Why would I want to analyze who's coming to my Facebook page? Well, that helps you better understand how to market to these people. If you're let's say you're running Facebook ads for a new product campaign, whatever you have going on, you will be in the near future. Why? Because 800 eyeballs, well, I guess that'd be twice that many eyeballs because everyone has two, well, most people have two eyeballs, are on Facebook. Don't you want your message there? I know I do. My friend Jeff Herring always likes to say, listen, if you want to attract the masses, you have to go where the masses are and redirect them to where you want to be. Facebook advertising, LinkedIn advertising, sponsored tweets, all of this forward-thinking, real-time advertising is going to become a reality. That's how you're going to shove your message down the right consumers' throats. Why? Little secret. Because they want to know about you. How do you know? Because you know they've read your post, you know they've liked you, they've commented, they've shared, they've reposted, they've retweeted. They've done all that. You've studied these characteristics. Why? Because things like Facebook Insights and other analytic tools are available to help you study and analyze your client's data. It's important stuff. This isn't just about changing a cover photo and a new layout for your Facebook page. This is really embracing the tools that are available on this new platform that's changing whether you like it or not on Friday, and being able to run with it. Have a whole new game plan for customer service, technical support, sales, branding, marketing. The cover photo is a small billboard. Doesn't it look like a small billboard? That's Coldplay. Any Coldplay fans out there? I see a couple questions coming in here. Everyone's saying what's up. Hearing me loud and clear. Hello to you guys as well. What is happening? What's up? Let's give you a quick what's up in the chat window. Thanks for joining us. I see people just joining us. Thanks so much. Hey, better late than never. I'm just glad you're here. I was babbling along about why you needed to embrace Facebook. This is all important information, but we're just now getting into the nitty-gritty on why you guys are here right now to better understand what the changes are all about with Facebook. I see some hands going up. Take it easy, friends. We're going to answer questions towards the end. Write your question down, and we're going to do a Q&A. Make sure your microphone and your speakers work and it doesn't get all crazy, and we're going to go live, and you can ask me a question, and I will respond to the best of my knowledge. New cover photo. Look how cool that is. HubSpot. It's a all-in-one marketing HubSpot. Exactly what it is. Software. Social media related, but they're one of the players on the block, so I figured that was a great example to use. New landing experience. That prime real estate you can now customize. That cover picture, write this down. Again, I'm going to put these slides up on SlideShare. You can do a presentation tomorrow with them. You can send them to your cousin. You can photocopy them. You can create a flow chart for your wall. You can do whatever you'd like with this presentation. So don't worry about going too crazy with notes. I want you to take it all in. Just write down the things that may not be on the slide. I am known to go off on a tangent every now and then. Very important, cover picture specs. The size of your picture. You ever see some pictures that people think that they've converted over to timeline only for you to find somewhat of a fuzzy picture? You can change that fuzziness by resizing the picture to 850 by 315 pixels. If you don't know what that means, call the guy that created your logo or your website and ask him to change your logo to that spec and resend it to you. Usually they'll do that as a fave. If not, it's going to be extremely minimal for them to do it. It takes a half a second. If you have a Google Plus account, upload the cover photo that you want to your Google Plus account, and then you can open up the Creative Kit, which is essentially a photo editor, and you can type in 850 by 315, save, and you're done. Little quick tip there. If you have a Gmail account, you have a Google Plus account, completely different webinar. But when you log into your Gmail account, top left, there's a little plus sign by your name. Click on that, and it'll walk you through everything else. All right, back to new cover photo here. The profile picture, the specs on that are 180 by 180. That'll get it nice and crispy and high def, and you'll have a nice presentable image like HubSpot has here. They've done a great job of doing that. They've really got a better look and feel. Do you agree that this improves a brand's appearance? Before it was just a picture of your brand and a bunch of data. This is a hello, welcome to our brand new office at Facebook. The cover photo, again, small billboard. We're going to go over what you can and can't do on a billboard pertaining to Facebook. Very important. Again, I love that Zuck and his team don't want brands shoving their message down consumers' throats. I love that. They're forcing you to be what you are, and that's a brand. Here's some cover photo no-nos. I know you're going to say, well, I saw What's-His-Bucket's page, and he has an website address and Twitter link, and yeah, when he is in violation of the terms of service of Facebook, and they take his page down, which happens all the time with one click of a button, and good luck getting somebody on the phone at Facebook to plead your case. Facebook does one thing right. They create things for a reason because they work. If they didn't work, they wouldn't create them. They wouldn't roll them out. Here's the no-nos. Cover images must be at least 399 pixels wide and may not contain the following. I gave you the measurements, 815 for the pixels, 815. Let's go back to that. 850, glad we went back to that, 850 by 315, but they have to be a minimum of 399 pixels wide. They may not contain price or purchase information. This is right off the Facebook site, by the way. Price or purchase information such as 40% off, just as an example, it could be 90% off. Anything percentage off is a no-no. Or download it at our website. There's no call to action, as we like to refer to them in the ad world. Contact information such as your website address, email, mailing address, or other information intended for your page's about section. So if you Google Facebook new timeline rules, it's going to bring you to the Facebook page with their policies and give you a direct link and show you where all of this information should be. They're taking you by the hand and they're slapping it when you're trying to market or do something with the new platform, and they're saying, no, 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 no. We're not saying we don't want your website or your phone number or your Twitter account or other calls to action that are based on your company information, but that needs to be in this little section we like to call About Us. Makes sense, right? I'm fully on board with this. I love it. Marketers, I know you have to stop, you have to reinvent the wheel, figure out how to get creative again and follow the rules. I know that's difficult. Brands, you should be embracing all this, just knowing, whew, all I got to do is make sure my brand looks good, presentable, and I'm providing content and everything is in a consistent flow the way it should be. 2 thumbs up. You can't provide references to user interface elements such as like our page, share our page, click here, thanks for being here, like us, or any other Facebook site features. You have no way of automating. Here's a great example. Remember those cute landing pages we all like to embrace when the new Facebook came out, after the new Facebook came out for pages? Or actually just when the Facebook pages came out, where we would be able to set that default landing tab. And if you've never been to facebook.com/SocialBuzzTV for the very first time, you're going to land on a custom page that asks you to follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, join our mailing list, click here for a special offer. Great call to action. Facebook didn't like that. They didn't hate it because they let you keep it. The tab is still available. It's just not a default tab, which means if I go to facebook.com/SocialBuzzTV for the first time, which I've been there a few times, but if I was going there for the first time, it would bring me to just that, facebook.com/SocialBuzzTV, essentially SocialBuzz TV's timeline. Calls to action, such as get it now or tell your friends. But wait, if you call now. No, none of that approach. You know why? Because we don't want to hear that anymore. No one wants to be pitched by a used car salesman. And friends, I've sold everything and anything on the planet. So when I tell you the toughest transition that I ever went through over the past 2 years was not selling, I can tell you it was one of the toughest transitions that I've ever gone to. You know why? Because one of the worst things I ever did was watch the movie Glengarry, Glen Ross. We're all familiar, most of us are, of the famous tagline, what is it? ABC, always be closing. And unfortunately, friends, we are operating in an ABC, let's see, what's the correct term? Tainted world, I guess is the simplest form to be able to put that. Everybody wants to pitch, sell, and market. I learned that if you develop relationships, if you go into every single relationship asking how you can help, what you can provide, without trying to figure out your own game plan, you in turn always end up walking away with exactly what you want. Isn't that crazy? Why am I talking about these type of details pertaining to business when we're on a new Facebook Changes webinar? Because guess what? If you go in to your new Facebook timeline strategy for your brand, focusing on what you can do for your brand's community, focusing on what you can do to engage with your brand's community. You're in turn, by a brand, going to walk away with exactly what you want. And what's that? That's more business. That's a bigger community. That's people walking around going, gosh darn it, that's the best product on the planet. And here's why. You want people talking about that. You can post brand milestones. Now, this is a timeline. That's exactly, let's define timeline for a minute. What does it do? It defines a timeline of information over a course of time of events and things that have taken place. Don't you want 10 years from now to be able to look back and say on March of 2012, we launched our Facebook timeline page? That's going to be a monumental, huge thing. Just like the Facebook timeline for us, we can scale back all the way back to birth if we wanted and go through our whole life. Wow, what an amazing archive to provide for our children. What an amazing archive to leave behind. Don't you want to do the same for businesses? Listen, over the past 100 years that business has been done, people have started businesses, they've had children, integrated the children into the businesses, and those children have taken over those businesses. A lot's changed now because people like to go in different directions, but this is really us reliving what we've been living for the past 100 years. Of course, we haven't been living 100 years, but what's been taking place? Dad starts the business, son goes into business with the dad retires, son takes over, son has a son, and that or daughter, or family member, whatever it may be, same thing's happening here, but in the digital space. It's telling the story for you. Nobody's taking over. They're just scaling back. Whoever's got the reins at that point in time, they're going to be scaling back and looking, going, wow. Before it was a Dun & Bradstreet rating, whatever those things are. Before it was a Better Business Bureau rating. Whoever those clowns are, that was started by Al Capone back in the 1930s to deploy the cops from organized crime. None of those things are effective anymore. Yellow page rate, none of that matters. You know what matters? Peer recommendation. People saying, you know what, your brand rocks, and I'm going to tell everybody about it, and I'm never buying a product from anybody else because you guys rock. That's what it's about. Posting a milestone on your page, that's really cool. You can also, we're going to talk about this in a second, but you can also feature. So let's say that you went live today, all things D, Facebook timeline went live a couple days ago. They wanted to keep this up indefinitely to show people. So the first thing they see, this that when you pin something, I'm going to show you in real time how that's done, to the top, it keeps it there. It keeps the information there. So even if you put new information up, that stays at the top. Again, another great way for you to talk about your brand and brag about yourself. Just brag about yourself, not sell. Brag about yourself. Custom tabs and apps. I'm going to go over this in a second. All the stuff that I'm talking about, I'm going to go in right now, and I'm going to show you how it all works so you better understand. But custom tabs and apps are in a much better place now. They're right under your cover photo. They've been moved to the very top, just below the cover photo. The cool thing about this, you can organize the order of the elements. The only thing you can't change is the photo tab. And let's just go take a look real quick, actually, while we're on this slide. I'm hesitant because I get off on a tangent when we go live on the page here because I like to continue to show you each and everything that's happening here. Okay. All right, I'm trying to move the code. Okay, I got a question popping in here. Everybody hears me loud and clear. Awesome. Let's see what else we got here. A lot of people saying that they like the old platform a lot better. Well, sorry about that, because guess what? It's changing. So there's nothing we can really do about that. A lot of people are chiming in also and saying that they like it. So I'm on board with you saying that I like it. I apologize if you don't like it because it's here to stay. I've just learned that embracing all these changes and figuring out a better way to embrace them is far less frustrating, to say the least. Okay, so here we are on the SocialBuzz TV Facebook page, and I'm obviously the admin. So here's our admin panel in real time. I can look at the notifications that people have made. This is where someone would message us. No one's messaged us yet because Facebook timeline's so brand new. These are the insights. This is really cool because you can see all kinds of cool stuff. You can choose it. You can export the data. You can see percentages of who's liked it, friends of fans who've liked it, the post, how much reach it's had, how much it's engaged, how viral it's gone. I mean, this is awesome information that you can go through to analyze and better understand who your audience and your customer is. That's why this information's here. It's not to show you, who's who and what's what. It's to give you data to better analyze and market. New people that have liked your page, you can add them as a friend if you happen to know them. That happens to me a lot. People like SocialBuzz TV. I've met them out. I get a chance to add them right away. That's really cool stuff. Let's talk about the apps because we were on that right now. Here's the apps. This is an ad that's not a Facebook ad here, so don't pay attention to any of this. Right here. Let's see here. This and the apps. This is all you're going to see. You should see, not this junk right here. Anyhow, these are all the apps. And the only one you can't change is photos. You don't want to change it anyway. Here's what you can do with these. You can move these around. So let's say I want to swap. Oh, I don't want join our list there. I want events there first. Swap. So I swapped events with keep in touch. So when this is just these, it's photos, events, keep it. Now I want to change it back. Okay. So I'm going to swap events with I'm going to swap keep in touch with events. I want people, as soon as they get to the page, to go and look at my photos, keep in touch with me. What happens when they click keep in touch, Sebastian? Well, it brings them to what used to be our default landing tab, where when you came to SocialBuzz TV for the first time, it told you who we are, and it gave you the opportunity to type in your email address. Emails are vital in the lifeblood of your business. It's not so you can market and shove your message down your audience or email list throat. It's there for you to communicate with your audience. Okay, let's go back to the apps real quick. I've got 9,000 things running on this poor dinosaur of a laptop, so there's a small delay here. I apologize. Okay, back to these. Now, one of the things I really like is that you can customize these apps, and you can put a custom image, or you can name them whatever you want. I put keep in touch. Great way to say, hey, join our mailing list. Custom image tab. You can change the tab. Sometimes there's a default tab on there. Go find an image like I did online of something to a mailing list. That looks pretty mailing list-ish, if you will, to me. So I added that. When you want to change it, it's got to be right here. 111 by 111 by 74 pixels. You simply upload it there. Click upload. Once the picture's in there, you can delete it, replace it, do whatever you'd like. Super cool feature in my opinion. I like it a lot. Events, I want events on there. Our most recent event's going to take the image from your most recent event on there. Again, all you got to do is click on, you're only going to see the first 4 apps. Most people have like 3 or 4 by default anyway. Click on this. Now you can go down here, you can create. If you're in this, you got skills, you got a web designer. I don't like to get into all the logistical details because I'm not a web designer a custom app designer for Facebook by any means. But the static FBML, which is essentially the HTML for Facebook, and a couple other additional features are available for you to create your own custom app if you so choose. But I wanted to point out that you can swap any of these except for photos with any of these. You can create a custom tab, and you can also change the image. Very, very cool stuff. You can pin something, which I've done right here with my e-press kit on SocialBuzz TV. If I wanted to pin something else, I could go to another post. It would do it. I made a video about tonight. I could sit here, click on the little star. That's all you got to do. Click on the star. It's like magic. And then you got my big mug back there with the video, and it really puts it, when it's all visual. The new Facebook brand is all visual. It's all about telling the story about your brand. So that's really cool that you can, don't go crazy with the features. Don't sell people. Don't go nuts shoving their message down people's throat. That's not cool, and that's not what people want to hear, I promise. So that is what's happening with custom tabs and apps. Again, Don't pull your hair out trying to figure out why you can't change the photo tab, because you can't. But you can change everything else and customize it. So make it your own. Tell your brand story. That's the trick to it. The new specs for the custom tabs, couple details here. You can still have custom tabs like I talked about. They just can't be set to default landing page. A positive note, you have a lot more real estate to play on now with your custom tabs. The width that used to be 520 pixels is now 810 pixels. For those of you that have tabs already in place with 520 pixels, they have been centered to the page, as you can see from this image. Got this image from our friends over at SocialMouths.com. Guys, phenomenal. Got a really cool brand, SocialMouths.com. Subscribe to them. They got some really, really cool stuff happening. Okay. Moving right along. Okay, here's the deal. These changes are happening. You saw all these changes that are happening. These are imperative changes that must take place. You must have a custom cover photo for your brand that is the correct pixel size so that it looks presentable. You must have the right profile pic so that it looks presentable. We can do something that pertains to your brand. We just can't try and sell your brand with those images. We can rearrange a couple of your apps and put a couple small images on there. Again, we're not building you a custom app. We're just rearranging, like we just went through a couple of the, let's say the first 7 apps that are there. We can rearrange and add a picture or two to customize a couple of them. So you're getting a cover photo that's correctly sized and customized to your brand, a profile pic that's properly sized, and we'll resize some of your apps and make sure anything that's not supposed to be in your timeline, because a lot of old information may pop up that you may not want there. Anything you want to feature, we're going to get in line. So what's going to happen is, like it says here, fact, you have to do something about this Facebook change, or you're just going to look ridiculous. I'm just going to be frank. We will professionally design a new compliant Facebook timeline cover that can help you generate more leads, more likes, more traffic, and more success. I'm not guaranteeing any of those statements, but this is what happens when you have a proper Facebook presence in place, especially with all the new changes. Now, we just ran an offer last week. I hate to say offer because I sound like an infomercial, but we ran a promotion, rather. Maybe that sounds a little more friendly. Last week to do just that, warn people that you got a week left and we can make these changes for you. We'll do it for just $297. The offer went incredibly well. We only had 10 spots. We sold out by literally the following morning. So I said, hold on a second. We got caught up on this. We're talking about Facebook timeline. Let's offer something else to just our Facebook timeline webinar attendees on Tuesday night. So here's an idea of some of the Facebook timelines. Here's a great example of a brand right here, NS Design. They put their whole team on there with their logo behind and a nice profile pic. Everything flows. They've created a couple apps about what they do and customized the pictures. Looks really good. Here's a professional blogger. He's created his page. This is really creative here. A guy in Europe done it, and our friends Coldplay. So you get a good idea of what happens. Again, this isn't hours of design work we're doing here. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to customize a cover photo that suits your brand, fits your brand, is the right size, and looks good. We want to make sure your apps are in place and your Facebook timeline is operating as it should. $297 last week with the offer that we sent out. It went extremely well. We got excited. We wanted to continue to pay it forward. We scratched the $297 price. We're knocking $50 off it tonight. $247. You're getting a really, really good deal here with being able to make sure everything's on point. And friends, this is only 3 days away. I promise you, in 4 days, you wake up having done nothing and you have a significant amount of fans in a community. I promise you're going to be kicking yourself because we've discounted this significantly just to get you motivated that the change needs to happen. This webinar is not here to pitch you. It's here to let you know I know my stuff. My team is hands down, in my opinion, the best out there as far as making sure you're staying above the curve, staying on top of what's happening and the changes that are taking place. So let us take the ball and run for it. It's minimal expense. It's a write-off. Everybody has web design needs, but these are immediate web design needs. Why? Because these changes are happening whether you like it or not. Think about it like your website is changing in 4 days whether you like it or not. That would probably never happen, but you know, with social media, you've got to roll. You got to roll with the punches. So here's the deal: limited webinar offer. This will be good until tomorrow afternoon. If you got to sleep on it, whatever you got to do, do it. Go to tinyurl.com/timeline offer, tinyurl.com/timeline offer. That's going to bring you right to a payment page that looks just like this. No, you do not have to have a PayPal account. You can simply click have a PayPal account, log in here. Don't have a PayPal account, just like you're buying something online on Amazon, whatever the case may be. We've only got 10 spots available. I know a lot of people are texting me right now on messaging. I'm getting tagged on Facebook, tweeted, and text all at the same time. These are all great things. I appreciate all of you guys, but the important thing to understand is I've only got 10 spots available. I love all of you, but we cripple our team, and we'd be out of business in no time if we just opened the floodgates and took 100 people doing this. We'd be backlogged for weeks. So we've only got 10 spots available. tinyurl.com/timeline offer. If you want to chat more about this tomorrow morning, we can. But again, offer ends tomorrow afternoon. I hate to sound like Billy Mays, God rest his soul, on an OxyClean commercial, but now is the time to capitalize on being able to take advantage of some really cool stuff. If you're looking at these examples, I mean, what's your Facebook timeline page look like now? Well, Sebastian, can't I just go find an image and resize it and put it up there? Sure, you can. If you know how to do all that stuff, that's what this webinar was for. It was to empower you to get out there and make it happen. But do it. Don't make it day 5 and be behind the 8 ball. These changes are imperative. These are where the eyeballs are at. There's 800 million people on Facebook and 100 million new people like pages every single day. That's a lot of people. That's a big market to be in. Again, any questions, thoughts, concerns that you got, tinyurl.com/timeline offer is where you go to get signed up for this. As the orders come in, we're going to get all the 10 sorted by tomorrow afternoon. We'll be in touch. We'll contact you, find out what your ideas are and what you want it to look like, give you our ideas. We'll put a game plan together, and we'll go right to design. So let's not waste any more time. I'm done trying to sell you something. I don't believe I have to. This is a value-added product that your brand needs, and we're the best at what we do. And you're on this webinar because you support us, and in turn, we support you. So thanks for listening to me give you my 120-second elevator pitch, but it's my webinar, so I do what I want. Anyway, hey, listen, let's go through some questions real quick and get down to my favorite part, and that's answering what your questions are about these new Facebook timelines. If you don't put your hand up, I don't know that you have a question, so just put your hand up. There's a little hand that looks just like a hand you can put up, and make sure that your microphone and speakers are working, and I'll call on you. Let's see here. Okay, cool. You can hear. Awesome. Sorry, somebody said that it broke up a little bit. I apologize for that. High five for sticking it out there. I really appreciate it. Well, nobody's raising their hands. Like I said, this presentation is going to be available on SlideShare. I'll send it out to all the attendees tomorrow morning. If you have any questions or anything, please hit me up. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have about this. We've only got 10 spots available, and I've got about 15 pending tweets and questions right now. So don't delay. At least go to the link. Square away the 247, lock in your price, and call me tomorrow. I'll answer all your questions, and we'll get you guys off to design this week for sure. Not seeing any more hands pop up here. I guess I've done my job and answered all of your questions. Again, here's all my contact information. Direct line at the office is 786-273-7875. Email address is srusk@socialbuzztv.com. Hey, I'm Sebastian Rusk with Social Buzz TV. Without you guys, these webinars don't happen, and I don't talk to anybody. Thank you so much for everybody that's joined. I'm overwhelmed with the response. Wow, you guys rock. We may have to do this again this week to get to the people that didn't get to this. I know that a lot of people reached out, weren't able to make 7 p.m. happen. I appreciate each and every one of you. You know why all this stuff is important? Because social media is overthrowing governments in the Middle East. Do you really have the audacity to think it's not affecting your brand? It definitely is. Hey, listen, friends, I hope you're leaving this webinar with what you came for, which is more information. I always like to say, I hope you're leaving this webinar with 3 things that you showed up for. Hey, again, my name's Sebastian Rusk. I'm signing off for the night. Thanks so much for your time. Any questions, hit me up. I'm available and a resource. And once again, I appreciate you guys' time, and I'll see you next time.